just get right to it, right? The top 5 things you need to know when divorcing a narcissist. Okay, number 1, the very first thing that's going to happen is they're going to try to enlist the people closest to you to go to their camp. They're going to reach out to your family, your friends, your community, people you work with, whatever, and try to get them to drink their Kool-Aid. You know what I mean? They're going to try to tell them their distorted version of what's happening, to try to make themselves out to be the victim, to make you out to be the bad guy. They will rewrite history. They will lie. They will completely turn everything upside down. They will be, the victim. They'll be so manipulative in this. They'll do their best award-winning acting. They will cry. You all know. If you're here, you know what I'm talking about, what they're capable of. They are going to convince even the people closest to you that it's your fault, that you are the one who's flawed or guilty or to blame. So know that this is going to happen. These people in the psychology world are called flying monkeys, right? The narcissist goes out and convinces this group of people that their version is the truth, and gets them all in their camp. They're called flying monkeys. They go out and then do the narcissist's work for them, because now they're doing the narcissist work on you for the narcissist. They're telling you, the same version of the story. They're believing this other version. So they're turning against you, which is exactly what he wants. All right, number 2, the second top thing you need to know when divorcing a narcissist is that as much as they are making your lives miserable, doing the most despicable things to you, calling you the most horrific names, doing all of these horrible things to hurt you, at the same time, they're begging you to come back. They're telling you that they want you back. They don't want you to leave. So it's like mind-blowing, right? How you're thinking, how can you want me to stay, yet you're doing these horrible things to me? You're pushing me away, but telling me you want me back. We're not wired this way. We're like, how can you be on both these sides at one time? How can you want me and be so mean to me? I mean, if you wanted me to come back, you wouldn't be doing these things to me, right? All right, so I call this the Scotch tape effect, because do you know when you take a piece of Scotch tape and you tear it like this and it keeps going forever and ever and ever and ever in 2 different directions? That's what they're doing. Their biggest fear, a narcissist's biggest fear, is abandonment. I mean, this is what their whole life is founded on, the fear of abandonment. And you're leaving, whether it was his idea to leave, your idea, it doesn't matter. You're leaving him is abandonment in his eyes. And it is too much for his fragile ego to withstand. He cannot stand the hurt to his ego of your leaving him. And you must be punished. You must be punished for leaving him, even if he left you first. It's like, it's crazy, right? We don't understand it because we're not narcissists and we're not wired the way they're wired. But they will, at the same time, do the most horrible things that nobody would stay to have these things done to them. Nobody would stay with that kind of treatment, yet they're punishing you for leaving. So this is the second thing. The third thing that will absolutely happen when you are divorcing a narcissist is that they will use your children as pawns. They may project onto you that you better not involve the children, you better not talk to the children, you better not use the children. That's exactly what they are going to do. 100%. Why? How could they possibly? Because narcissists, by definition, have no empathy. They don't have the ability to empathize. They cannot put themselves in someone else's shoes. They can't imagine what another person might be feeling like, including their own children. So they will do things that are so damaging emotionally to your children in an effort to hurt you because they can't, it's just something that they're not capable of feeling, of what somebody else might feel like. And on top of that, the narcissist sees his children only as an extension of himself. They're only worth, their only value to a narcissist is how they reflect on him. Does that make sense? It just is, whatever their accomplishments are is a reflection on him. So they're only worth to him what they bring back to him. So they're not separate people. They're not separate people with their own needs, their own feelings, their own agenda, their own life, their own future. They're only there to suit the narcissist's purposes, right? So yeah, it's easy for them to use the children as pawns, but they know that there's no way you are going to hurt the children or let the children be hurt. And they will use this information, this knowledge against you because it's so easy, right? They can get whatever they want by threatening to do something harmful to the children. And they know that you're going to give in because you aren't ever going to do anything except protect your children. So this is a given. This is how this dynamic works. All right, number 4, the fourth thing you need to know if you're divorcing a narcissist is that they will never settle. They will never want to settle your case. It will go on and on and on. They will draw it out because they want you to agonize. Anything they think is hurting you emotionally, financially, physically, that's what they're going to pursue. And also, it's about the fight for them. You know, they're very competitive. They have to win. So settling, it's not even in their vocabulary because in their minds, they're so entitled, they deserve everything. They deserve everything. They should have everything. You should get nothing because of this grandiosity that defines them. So they are never going to settle. And even if you get to a place where it looks like there's a settlement right within reach, at the 11th hour, they will backpedal. They'll say, no, that's not what I said. Right when all the lawyers are about to agree, everything's done, you're starting to feel the sigh of relief, like this is finally going to end. I didn't say that. I didn't agree to that. You know, they'll rewrite history. And if that doesn't work, then they'll move the goalpost, meaning, well, yeah, I said that then, but now it has to be, you know, it's never going to be enough because it's not everything. And that's all they think that they should be getting, everything. All right, so the very last thing, the 5th thing that you need to know if you're divorcing a narcissist is that they're not going to abide by any court orders. So that's pretty discouraging, right? Even when you get a court order in your favor, they don't think it applies to them. They don't take it seriously. And you think, well, that's okay because there's a court involved. They're going to have to be held to an order, right? Well, you know how manipulative, charismatic, believable, convincing they can be. They will convince a court that, you know, they'll come up with some crazy sob story for why they couldn't do whatever it was. They'll buy more time. They will, you know, cry, tell tall tales, whatever. They have no integrity. You know, this doesn't bother them. Making up ridiculous lies in court to a judge. This does not bother them in the least. And then when you're reacting, when you're going, oh my God, and I can't believe, you look like the crazy one. So you can't do that. But they are going to say and do anything they can to squirm out of not adhering to a court order. And they have no shame. All right. Those are the 5 things. So why would I ever tell you such bad news, right? This is very depressing that this is what you're going to face or are facing. It's not very uplifting, is it? But here's why. Because the more you know, the better prepared you can be. If you know the likely scenarios that are going to happen, you can expect them. You can prepare for them. I don't want you to be blindsided. I want you to know and expect that this is going to happen so that you can shore yourself up for it and maybe take precautions against letting it hurt you in your case. Also, you can use this disorder of theirs against them. You can use some child psychology tools to flip it so that you can actually get them to do what's best for you by making them think it's what you don't want them to do. It's just like toddlers, really. So the other reason I'm telling you all this is because, like I said, if you react in court, if you flip out or lose your temper or go off on him, the court's believing him. And now say that you're the judge, right? The judge is believing this crazy sob story about how his mother just died or, and he needs more time. Whatever he will say, and you start being dramatic in your reaction, you're going to hurt yourself in the eyes of the court. This is going to actually hurt you. They're going to think that you're unfeeling or the bad guy. And you have to always wear the white hat because judges are just people. They make broad stroke decisions. They only have a minute to sum you up. They don't get to know you. They're reading the lawyer's account of what's going on. They're reading all these papers, and then they see you. They have to make a snap decision about you. And this is just human nature. They take you at face value, and they take him at face value. So when he's going to be the one never turning things over on time, not showing up, delaying, always having an excuse, always having a sob story, always, and they may fall for it the first time, the second time, the 10th time maybe, but at some point they will start to get it. But if you start doing what most of I see my clients wanting to do, and I stop them from doing this, which is, well, he's not turning over discovery. Why am I the idiot who's like doing everything, giving them everything? He's not giving us anything. Why should I give everything? Well, I'm going to withhold it too. Or he didn't show up for court, so I'm not going to. Why am I going to take a day off from work? He never shows up. I'm not going to show up. This is why you can't do that, because then you're just the same. The judge doesn't know. He can't, or she can't remember. All he knows is who showed up, who didn't, who turned it over, who didn't. You have to always wear the white hat. You have to always do everything on time, because then it's just black and white. The more contrast you can create between the two of you, the easier you're making it for the judge to get the joke. So you always turn everything over on time. You always show up. You're always respectful. You're always professional, polite, dressed appropriately, quiet. You don't speak out. You only speak when you're acknowledged. You do everything right so that they remember, oh, that's the good one, that's the bad one. It's really that easy. It's like, this is all they're looking at. This is all they've got. All right, so what's my advice? My overall advice when you're having to face this sort of contentious situation, you have to go with your gut and do what you know or what you feel is best for you and your family, for you and your kids. Um, and have conviction about what that is. You know, if you know, if, okay, so here's an example. Your house is in foreclosure. He's ordered to pay. He's not paying. It's going into foreclosure. You're prohibited from selling anything during um, the proceedings, but delay, and you can't get this in front of a judge, and you sell your house. You go into contract on your house. And what does the judge say? Well, you were not supposed to sell. You're the bad guy. You shouldn't have done that, and you're getting your hand slapped. And instead of going, well, I was so afraid and I wasn't sure, and it was the court's fault because I could never. No, you go, well, I was about to lose a major asset, and that was the most important thing for me and for my children and for the other party, like not to lose that major asset. So I did what I felt was best for me and my family, and that's what I had to do. And yeah, it went against a court order, but that was what was the best thing. Well, when you have conviction, when you have passion, when you have the details about why you did what you did, and you're going to come across as someone who knows how to take care of herself and her kids, not a wishy-washy, well, you have to really stand your ground. So that's what I mean when I say have conviction for your actions. He's always, your ex-husband is always going to blame you for anything you do. So don't let that guide your actions. It doesn't matter what you do or don't do or what you say or don't say. He's always going to say it was wrong, that it was your fault, that you know the drill. Everything's your fault, right? So don't start second guessing yourself because, well, he might say, or he'll probably say, yeah, he's going to say it. That's a given. It's just a given. No matter what you do, it's a given that he's going to say this was your fault for whatever happened. So get past that and do what you feel is the right thing for you and your family. So the way I help my clients make this mindset shift about standing up to their ex-narcissist is to think of him as a robot. He's a robot. He's not a human being. He's not built like a human being. He doesn't have the same emotions or the same ways of reacting to other people or interacting in society. He is a robot, and he is programmed a certain way. You will never change that. Don't expect suddenly he's going to have empathy. Don't expect suddenly for him to put the children before himself. Don't stop expecting him to behave differently than you know he's going to. He's programmed like a robot to behave that way. So once you know that there's no other way for him, you'll stop even hoping that it might be different or thinking maybe this time. It's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. It's almost like in their DNA. There's no pill, there's no therapy. There is nothing to change the way they work. All right. That is my advice for today. I hope it was helpful.